Time for World Edition. And of course, we've got a lot of things going on in the world. So we'll be talking about that here on Pod TV and seeing what folks' reactions are to a number of the stories taking place and all along those lines. So, our Israel says it killed Ali Larijani, Iran's top security official, in a strike. So, top Iranian security official was killed in an overnight strike, is what Israel is saying. And we'll be hearing what kind of reactions people have from Iran and other parts of the world as well. And EU seeks diplomatic solution for Hormuz Strait, Calais says. So, Strait of Hormuz, Trump needs a coalition, and CNN is reporting here's how to build one. So, Trump sidestepped diplomacy on the road to war in Iran. He's now asking China and others for help. So, that's one of the stories that's being reported as well. And in Afghanistan, Pakistan blamed after an airstrike on Kabul Rehab Center kills at least 100 people. So hundreds dead in Pakistani airstrike on Kabul, officials in Afghanistan say. From sponsor to enemy, what's behind Pakistan's attack on Afghan Taliban? So that's definitely something that's being talked about as well. And Iran's supreme leader, Tabi Kamani, U.S. intelligence shows Iran's late supreme leader was wary of his son taking power, according to some sources that are being reported in various news medias. Iran rejects de-escalation offers. Israel says it kills Iranian security chief, as I just reported earlier, and everything like that. So, intrigue, power plays, and rivalries inside the rise of Mujtaba Kamani. So, definitely it looks like there's still a lot going on in this war that is now heading into its third week. French far right struggles to deliver a decisive breakthrough. So, French elections is deadline day. Marcel's tight mayoral race is a bellwether for France's future. So, definitely there's a lot going on in the political landscape, even there in France as well. And it looks like there's still a lot going on in terms of what's taking place with this war effort and everything like that. So definitely there's a lot going on in that space. Canada, France, Germany, UK warned against major Israeli ground offensive in Lebanon. Some Israeli strikes in Lebanon may be war crimes, is what the UN Rights Office is saying. So definitely that's something that folks are talking about as well. And suspected suicide attack kills at least 23 in northeastern Nigeria. So bombs explode in northeastern Nigeria, leaving scores killed and injured. Coordinated suicide attack in Nigeria leaves those 23 people dead and everything like that. So definitely there's lots of folks that are still talking about the Iran war as well as the drone strikes that are taking place in that area. Drone strikes at UAE natural gas field ablaze, Abu Dhabi says. Iran targets UAE energy infrastructure as gas field set ablaze. Tanker struck near the Strait of Hormuz. So definitely there's a lot going on in the Middle East. There can be no doubt about that. And the UAE holds 19 Indians over fake social media posts. So definitely that's something that folks are talking about as well. UAE big action against 19 Indians over misleading posts amid the Iran war. So definitely that's something that folks are talking about as well. And a British man charged in Dubai for allegedly filming of Iranian missiles. British man charged with cyber crimes in Dubai for allegedly filming those missile strikes, UK authorities confirmed. And UAE regulators announced complete closure of country's airspace as flights continue. So UAE opens airspace after Iran attack as it happened. United Arab Emirates briefly closes airspace as Israel strikes Lebanon and Tehran. So definitely that's going on as well. So like I said, a lot's going on in this war with Iran and everything like that. Israel is saying it plans to expand the Lebanon ground campaign, and this fuels fears of a prolonged war, even in Lebanon and between Israel and Lebanon. Israel says Lebanese displaced won't return until its own citizens are safe. And China warns Trump's latest tariff moves could damage trade ties. So, Foreign Ministry spokesperson Go Jakin, a regular press conference on March 12th, he was saying some things about his reaction to Trump and everything like that. Allies to Trump will live with tariffs, just don't make them any higher. So, China urges U.S. to correct erroneous ways over trade probes ahead of the Paris talks. And I am hearing that there might be some delays in those talks. And Palestinians seek answers and justice after West Bank family gunned down by Israeli cops. My mother cried out one last time. Palestinian boy 12 described how Israeli forces killed his family in a car. So definitely there's a lot going on in the Middle East. There's no doubt about that. And Iran tankers in Straits of Hormuz. Iran still exporting millions of barrels of oil through the Strait of Hormuz, even as other traffic has been ground to a halt. So Iran supertanker pushes through the strait for China. So definitely looks like there's still some oil going through the strait, but it looks like right now it's mostly Iranian oil from what media reports are saying. And Pope Leo asked the media to show suffering of war, not amplify the propaganda. To criticize an American-led war, an American Pope turns to allies, and he's been doing that now for a couple of days, and he's urging war leaders to halt fighting after deadly strike on school sparks outrage. I'm gonna bring in my folks and see what they've got to say. I know I got Rick Rosner with me, and we'll see what he's got on his mind and everything like that. Didn't get to any of the national news, but I'm sure
I've got a quick number for you. Gas national average $3.79 a gallon, up 7 cents since yesterday, the biggest jump since the war began.
Wow, that's a big jump. So yeah, and they're saying that this could impact Trump, and it looks like Trump is on the defensive with the press and a number of other people, even his allies. And some of the allies are going like, "This is not our war." So definitely, it looks like he might be getting some pushback even from some of our European allies.
Well, here's a tweet saying, breaking, the director of the National Counterterrorism Center, Joseph Kent, just resigned, and his letter is devastating. He says Trump was deceived into war with Iran, pushed by misinformation and outside pressure, Netanyahu, I guess, abandoning his own American first principles. And he says Iran never posed any imminent threat to America. Yeah, this is the director of the National Counterterrorism Center.
Yeah. I also heard some news that apparently this Kennedy Center is going to be closed for 2 years now. And
it was falling apart because it hasn't been remodeled since 2024, which is, if you do the math, a little more than a year ago. And also they spent $250 million remodeling it and refurbishing it in 2019. So when Trump says, yeah, it's dilapidated, it's falling apart, he's full of shit. The same way he said he talked to a former president who said, good for you for attacking Iran. I wished I'd done it. So reporters then contacted all 4 living former presidents, and they all said, no, I didn't say that. So he's just
doing stuff left and right. So, but yeah, I do see that he's going to close the Kennedy Center, and I think he's got a new director, or they've got a new director as well. So we'll see what they decide to do. And I don't know if this is a Trump ally or not, because I know the last director he appointed was Trump
Richard Grenell, who I guess got fired, but like Richard Grenell is like, I think he's former ambassador to Germany. He's a real dickhead. He's part of the whole Trump crew.
The Trump crew. And apparently the Senate is expected to take up the voter ID bill opposed by the Democrats. So we'll see how this goes. I'm hearing a lot of people that are speculating that it could be a serious blue wave. I mean, we still got months to go, and a lot could change in that time. But there are a lot of people that are speculating it could be a serious blue wave in terms because of some of the people being disheartened by what Trump is doing and also wondering how it's impacting their own pocketbooks.
So before the war started, people who look at election statistics predicted that the Republicans could lose 28 seats in the House. Mm-hmm. Now I just saw a tweet that said that 44 Republican seats might be up for grabs. Oh, wow. Doesn't mean Democrats will win all of them, but they only need to win 2 of them to take over control. So it doesn't look, I mean, I'm not sure you can even bet on Dems taking over the House, because bookies don't really like giving you action on a total sure thing.
Yeah, they don't want a sure thing. They don't want to lose money. It looks like Supreme Court's going to hear arguments over push to end the legal protection for migrants. So the Supreme Court is deferring the decision on ending protections for Haitians and Syrians. So we're going to see what the situation is with our migrant population as well. So we'll see what the Supreme Court decides to do. And a Utah mom, Corey Richards, has been convicted of fatally poisoning her husband. So it looks like the Utah bereavement author was found guilty of fatally poisoning her husband, and apparently she wrote some Greek books, but she was found guilty in the fatal poison of that person and everything like that. So that was over there in Utah. And I know you spent some time in Utah, I think, in your life and everything
Well,
like
no,
that.
I mean, I've driven through it, but never really hung out. It's a beautiful state,
Oh yeah,
and the people are nice. I mean, well, they're nice people in every state, but
yeah, I've never been there, so I have to put it on my wish list. Now, I did hear this also about the news report yesterday, and I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. But Trump says he can take Cuba. I can do anything I want with it. So apparently, he's seeking to remove the Cuban president from power during negotiations. So, and he's thinking about maybe he's gonna take Cuba. Trump said he thinks he will have the honor of taking Cuba because definitely Cuba's been under communist rule for decades. So I guess he's thinking that he'll be the first one to bring it back out of communist rule.
He's not the best political strategist. Cuba is in trouble. They're out of money. They can't even provide electricity to their people. This would be, I mean, yeah, we could probably buy Cuba. If Trump came in and Trump gave $40 billion to Argentina because he likes the leader of Argentina for no reason. That's more than we've spent on the war so far. We could, with $40 billion, we could probably negotiate some kind of either some huge footprint into Cuba, where I keep saying, like, Cuba in the 50s was America's playground, right? Mm-hmm. The mafia operated all sorts of casinos on the island, and we could probably negotiate for $10 billion. We'll give you $10 billion, give us half a square mile of Cuba to set it up as a tourist center for you guys. I think Cuba might bite on something like that, a free enterprise zone. Will Trump do anything that reasonable and relatively inexpensive? No.
Probably not. He's probably not going to do anything that reasonable and inexpensive. That just not would be his nature. Apparently, he's also going after a climate agency. So, NARCAR is suing its partners as to block Trump's administration's arbitrary and capricious decisions. So, lawsuit challenges Trump administration plans to dismantle the country's largest climate research lab. I'm sure they're using
NARCAR. That's from my hometown. That was right up the street from me.
Right.
And yeah, it's. If you've ever seen the movie Sleeper, and I don't know why anybody would have, because the movie is now probably close to 50 years old, but it's a Woody Allen science fiction movie, and they show NCAR. So anyway, that's where our research it gets done in Boulder, Colorado. My hometown is a huge science town, and Trump not in love with science. Susie Wiles, his chief of staff, just got diagnosed with breast cancer, and everybody wishes her well, but it's ironic since Trump has shut down government funding of cancer research.
Well, speaking of shutting down stuff, and I think we got Nick with us and Sasha, the U.S. airline CEOs are urging Congress to end shutdown and pay airport workers. So that was reported yesterday. Flyers face hour-long lines as TSA agents quit amid first weekend without full pay. So 1 month later, White House and Democrats are no closer to ending the DHS shutdown. So it looks like the shutdown's going for a while. So how long are we going to have this shutdown, Nick? You looking forward to a shutdown? I know you do a lot of travel.
There's no shutdown. Can you hear me?
I heard you. Yes, we hear you.
Okay. I'm in Barcelona, Spain. I'm flying to Venice this week.
Oh, nice.
And to spend a week there. And there is no TSA problem. I don't know what you guys' problems are. But speaking of movies, okay, I had to go watch the Oscars, the one that won the best movie. Now, my wife said Sinner was good, but there was something that there was another movie that won it. It was
one battle after another.
Oh, gosh. And so I started watching it. It was absolutely horrible. I mean, it was like the worst piece of trash I have seen in a long time. Frankly, it was a walkout movie. The only thing it was sad was I actually spent $6.99 trying to watch it on Amazon Prime, but there was nothing good about it. I guess it would be good if you were a middle schooler or a high school person. And I wonder why it did so bad in the box office, because basically it was a dumb if you could even call it a movie. So I watched Hamlet, and it wasn't so.
Hamnet, great movie.
Yeah, and I heard Sinners good, so I'm going to go watch that. But
Sinners
Break-
is pretty
what was
good.
it? One break after another, or
One
break-
battle after another, and
Yeah, the only
Benicio,
battle
I
had
liked.
was
I
Out of
liked
Time to Watch.
Benicio. I liked Benicio del Toro in it. I thought his character was good, and I thought
Yeah.
Sean Penn always goes as far as possible with a character. I thought.
Oh yeah, the thing is, Sean Penn and Leonardo DiCaprio are two sick puppies. I mean, seriously, if this is the best Hollywood can produce,
Yeah, but
then no
okay,
wonder
but
why they're
Sean
getting
Penn
destroyed.
played a sick puppy in the movie. He played
Well,
a
he was
complete.
a sick puppy, and when he was with John Travolta, and what was that thing? Welcome Back, Kotter. I mean, the guy's always been a sickie.
No,
you know?
he was in Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Oh, is that what he was? Fast
Yeah, he
Times
played
with-
a surfer dude named Spicoli. He's
Yeah,
always
you're right. Fast Times, Ridgemont High. I mean, the guy is a personification of low life and what you don't want to be or have your children be when you grow
No,
up.
he's an okay. He actually
It's
pushes
just-
for progressive. I know you might not like him. He pushes for progressive causes, but he went.
I don't mind progressive causes, but he's stupid. I mean, stupid is as stupid does, and there are a lot of stupid people out there.
He did a great job portraying a psycho. He got so jacked physically.
In what?
His arms looked and his neck looked so weird from like whatever fitness routine he was doing it in his 60s. He looked like a nut, but he's playing it.
Yeah, I mean, him and Robert Kennedy should get along real fine. So I can see them being. Big buddies.
I agree that one battle after
But
another.
for
I mean, it was-
fringes aren't for me. I mean, the thing is, and the first part, I'm going like, what is this about? Am I supposed to be a middle school kid whose first time you saw an erection or something? And that's supposed to get me excited. Now, there are a lot of middle school kids. I think they drive the movie industry, and high school kids do, which is the only reason it got 200 million in the box office on 130 million production costs. The Hollywood people were disappointed. They're lucky to break even. If that ever hit social media and the right wing got a hold of it, they would tear that piece of trash apart. But it didn't have to, because frankly, I can't get out of the first 15 minutes of that.
All right,
because
so
it's so
I
bad.
somewhat agree with you that it didn't hang together as much as I would have
Okay,
wanted.
let me ask you this, Greg. What was the big message you got out of this?
Well, I've been told sometimes I'll see a movie and I'm like, then I have to go.
Right, and so I tell you what the message is.
I have to
What's
go
the
to
big-
Rotten Tomatoes, read a bunch of reviews to figure out what to have other people tell me what the movie's message was. This was apparently about family and the ties of the people continuing to support each other under a repressive government. It had some elements that
repressive government. These people running around blowing up and killing people to start. The
I
movie.
know. All right, but it had parts of
They
it.
were the repressors.
Parts of it I enjoyed. The overall, but I mean, the way we watch movies now kind of sucks. You watched it at home for $7. I watched it at home in pieces. It's not like going to a theater. When you watch it at home and you're distracted, you're not really giving a movie a chance. Now, Sinners had a lot of, like One Battle. I think it had a lot of good elements. I was overall disappointed with it because once the vampire part kicked in, it became very, I thought, less original than the first half, which was the setting it all up, and then the vampires come and they do a bunch of standard vampire shit, and it's less interesting. Maybe.
Well, my wife actually liked Sinners. I haven't seen it yet. She said it was a good movie. I said, "Will you see it again?"
Well, it had a bunch of great elements. I just didn't like the vampire part. Well, I liked some of the vampire part, but the vampire part wasn't original. Other parts were. Jacoby, what do you think?
I don't think you saw any of those movies.
Uh-oh.
We're talking about One Battle After Another.
Okay, it's called One Battle After Another.
My computer's frozen. I don't know if you can hear me, but
yeah.
There it goes. It was taking a little time. I'm looking at updating the computer right now. But yeah, Sinners was great. Sinners was an homage to Black history, and that's what it was. And a interesting joke that somebody put out there, which is true, is that you can't talk about slavery without talking about or bringing in the Irish. And that's what happened in the actual movie, is that there were the Irish vampires that came in to take over. But it was actually a neat tale and very original. The vampire part was vampire part. I mean, there's not really much you can do with the vampire part. It was in the realm of Lovecraft Country, if you ever watched that, because basically what Lovecraft Country was telling historical tales that a lot of Black people had to deal with at the time, and they were the sundown towns. That was one of the tales in Lovecraft Country, where the sundown towns were real, still are kind of today, but the horrors came out when the sun went down, and Black people were not safe when the sun went down. That's what sundown towns were, is that you go to a particular place, and yes, you may end up dead because of the area that you're in. They may come and pull you out, take you to a Klan rally, and you're gone. So that was sundown towns, and again, they're still around today. They're not as there are places where you could be attacked just because part of history. But that's what Sinners was really about. I mean, it was the history and the celebration, like the one scene in the actual barn when they're having the song, and it was paying homage to all of how music evolved. It went from the past to the future and touched on every little bit. So that was cool. That was super cool about.
That was the best scene in the whole movie.
I mean, it was so, and that's what they did at the Oscars, because they had to pay homage to that, and so it was just neat to see that. And it's a telling of Black culture and Black history, and that's what Sinners was.
And that's a great recipe. Lovecraft Country, though, they brought in so many different elements. They threw the kitchen sink at those characters, which made it kind of awesome. Watchmen did the same recipe. They decided, we're going to tell you about the Tulsa Race Massacre as part of what that was great.
So both Lovecraft Country and Watchmen did the Tulsa Massacre. Both of them were extremely emotional. Both of them hurt bad just watching it. But that's what that story was, because there's a history that's not told, and they're telling those stories using different avenues to tell those stories. Lovecraft Country, of course, threw so many things at you, but if you look at the historical context that they're wrapped around, it is fascinating, and it is scary to think about it. I mean, the Green Book within itself is just scary. But of course, there's a Green Book today that's necessary. But again, it's just fascinating to see how Sinners told the story of Black history in the way that it did.
Okay, Sinners is on the list, but what about this movie, One Bad Movie After Another?
One battle after another.
My battle was trying to watch it, and eventually it was a walkout movie, so I turned it off. It was so bad.
Yeah, that's one on my list that I haven't had a chance to sit down and watch. I keep thinking about it, but
all I could say
there are others. There's so much. Honestly, like the Oscars is great, and it does highlight some great movies. But there are just so many other movies that are out there, and so many other shows that I just get hooked on. And I'm like, I don't have time to watch that one. I want to watch this one.
We think Sinners should have won, and One Bad Movie After Another should have been in the trash can.
Well, I think Paul Thomas Anderson's made better movies. Magnolia was crazy and great.
Oh, Dr. Sharif. I wonder if he watches American movies over there.
Right, we should.
There he is. Do you get American movies over in Asia, Dr. Sharif? Can you hear me? Dr. Sharif, hello.
Well, let's go to Sasha for some.
Hear you.
Yeah, we'll go to Sasha.
Oh, there he is.
We'll go to the war. Sasha has all his fingerprints on all the wars that are going on, which right now Ukraine has expanded, and now we have a war in Iran. Just what we needed.
Oh, by the way, Iran um, is declaring war against Ukraine because Ukraine will help the Gulf states to deal with Iranian missiles and drones. Okay, so that's yet another war. It's natural because Iran and Russia are friends and
Yeah, we
partners.
know that.
If Russia is fighting Ukraine, so why not Iran? Just as might as well. Well, of course. By the way, Trump has canceled his trip to China. As he said, he must be during the war in United States. Okay, that makes sense. And he was also informed by Germany and England that they will not help him to deal with the Strait of Hormuz problem, and that problem could be dealt only by diplomacy, Mr. Trump. Okay, so what kind of diplomacy Mr. Trump has for Iran? We don't know. We don't know even if he has any diplomacy. Oh, by the way, he will be a little bit distracted by taking over of Cuba, and that's yet another problem to be solved for United States. Cuba, okay, let's do it. Trump says he can do in Cuba anything what he wants. So let him do it. Okay, you have deranged president who has absolutely cannot be restrained by anybody, whether it's a Senate or American people or anybody, and he's just running around and doing whatever he wants, bringing up total U.S. debt up to almost $40 trillion, and continues all these actions unopposed by anybody. So all the U.S. Republican Party, they just lay down and spread their legs under Trump, and that's all what they are good for. Okay, maybe that will be dealt sometimes November this year later on. Ukraine is continuing bombardment of Moscow. All the leadership of Moscow already left town, including Putin and all the ministers and everybody else. And it's not only Moscow, many other cities are being bombarded by Ukrainians. They are about to take over Crimea almost any day because there is no any resisting forces are left in Crimea. Everything has been bombed out. So is Trump going to help Russia or something, or they will be just destroyed by Ukrainians? What's the story here? I really don't know.
You saw that Joe Kent, the head lead counterterrorism specialist for it just left.
And
He resigned because he said that there was no imminent threat, and it was over the Iran war.
Yeah, I mean, Iran is what, 8,000, 9,000 miles away from us? And this guy sent a letter, though you can read the letter on Twitter and I don't know where else. And he said, yeah, Trump was manipulated into the implication being that Netanyahu got to Trump and talked him into going to war.
I don't think you had to talk him into it too hard. Remember, he just lost his tariff toy. So when you lose the tariff toy, you got to find another toy. He found another one.
On Drudge, there's a poll that says that half of Americans believe that the war was that Trump started as a distraction from the Epstein files.
Well, they're obsessed with the Epstein files.
Well, as we should be. The guy perhaps did some super creepy shit with underage girls, and even though we passed a law to release the files, they're still sitting on them to protect them.
And during the entire Biden administration, they couldn't bring it up. Is that what happened?
They were under legal constraint under the Biden administration. Now they're not. There's even a law that says they must be released.
Who was doing this legal
So truthfully,
which Democrat was
that
doing the legal
deflection?
constraint? Bill Clinton?
Truthfully, that deflection doesn't matter because right now
it does. You guys
no, it doesn't. Let me explain why. If you let me finish my words, So the reason it does not matter is because Donald Trump campaigned on it, on releasing the files. His administration campaigned on releasing the files. All the influencers that he threw into his administration said they're releasing the files. From what's his name? Dan Bongino to Kash Patel to Pam Bondi, so on and so forth. They campaigned on it. Then when they get in office, Pam Bondi held a press conference saying, I have these notebooks, I have the files, and I'm going to release the files. They're on my desk. So they played this up because they knew they could get votes. It drove people to the polls. But now they created a Frankenstein monster and cannot control that Frankenstein monster. So it has nothing to do with Biden. Biden, as Rick points out, they're under legal requirements. They couldn't. But either way, the Republican Party didn't care. So when you go and play these games, the only people who supposedly cared was MAGA. MAGA's in charge now. Now MAGA's sitting on the files saying that it doesn't matter. It's a hoax. So it doesn't matter about Biden. Right now, you set up an expectation. Follow through with that expectation.
Yeah, it's like voter fraud. It's like Republicans jumping up and down voter fraud. They have
That's
like
not a
20
real
years
issue.
to prove it,
And you're trying to actually.
And you
Hold
guys
on,
had
before we
20
move on
years
to voter
prove
fraud, I want to
something
agree with
happened,
Nick that
and you weren't able to prove anything. So all it
with
is
Nick
just
that it was a failure of Biden, and
You
the
know.
failure, the Democrats.
one of his many
Hold on,
failures.
let me-
You're admitting.
He's-
Great.
The Democrats have proven that being decent that it's the failure of decency as a political strategy. Biden should have been out there. The Democrats should have been out there every day of his administration attacking the Republicans the way the Republicans attack the Democrats. And he should have brought in more aggressive prosecutors. Biden hid out in the White House. He had the idea that if he just did his job, that people would find the goodness in that. And no, you have to be aggressive and loud, and Biden was not.
Yeah, Biden played by the old rule of politics. Everything changed when Trump came in because he was very bombastic. He didn't care about apologies. He still doesn't care about apologies. He tries to make everything about himself. He's wrapped himself in the flag. So when people talk about America, or when people talk about Trump, the first thing that comes out of MAGA's mouth is you're being unpatriotic and you don't support America. Well, Trump isn't America. If Trump makes a decision that's a poor decision, we should be able to criticize that decision. But that's not what has been sent to them or told to them or sold to them. So MAGA will always think that Trump is America. Trump and America are synonymous.
Yeah, but
They're the
you
same
said
thing.
it came in. It didn't. It came in well before Trump. Jimmy Carter ran as a decent man and an alternative to Watergate and Vietnam, and then Reagan ran on calling Jimmy Carter a pussy. And
there's a big difference between what Reagan did and what Trump has done.
Right.
So there's a huge difference and a huge chasm. I'm not saying that I'm saying that politics has now changed due to Trump. It's not that politics there's been other politics where people have, chastised or said something evil about the other people, but it didn't even, and you're right, it didn't start with Trump. It honestly started with Sarah Palin when we started going down this path. But Trump exacerbated the situation and truthfully changed politics in the US. And Biden ran up under the that's what Hillary Clinton did, Biden did, and honestly Kamala Harris did. Thought, hey, we're gonna
no, Hillary Clinton called shit out. She called MAGA's deplorables. Hillary Clinton,
she didn't even call MAGA's deplorable. She called a percentage of people deplorable who just so happen to be MAGA. I mean, it's like saying there are racists in MAGA. There are racists on the Democrat side, but I'm not calling all Democrats or all MAGA racist. But the problem is people took that because of how things are today and how Trump has manipulated the politics of today, and then it became, you're talking about one. It's the what's that that cult? It's one. Was it one? If what is it? One comes many or one comes all?
You mean QAnon?
Yeah, QAnon stuff, and that's what is entrenched within there. So you talk about one of them, you're talking about all of them. No, you're not. You're talking about how poor decisions are. And if one person is racist, that doesn't make everybody racist. This is something honestly Black people have dealt with the whole time. Every time you talk about a criminal, you want every Black person to apologize for the criminal. It doesn't work that way. So this is an understanding that the minority community has an inherent understanding about just because they dealt with it ever since they were born. I hate to say it that way.
Let's hear from the majority. We'll hear from Dr. Sharif because he represents about 8 billion people over there.
Okay, thank you. we don't have 8 billion people. Anyway, so things is that like right now situation is very challenging, very crucial for Bangladesh, for South Asia, for Middle East and all of the people. And honestly speaking, when I see people die because of war, it's hurt me a lot. Uh, yes, I like politicians because politicians make decisions. Politicians take responsibilities, and politician responsibility is to taking care of their country. But how I see different contributions, like political contribution, I see that Russia invaded Ukraine, or USA also doing same things with Venezuela. Then like this Iran war or another thing, it actually create a major problem. And how this war is increasing and increasing day by day. Many people are dying. Even Bangladeshi, many people dying in the Middle East. Many Bangladeshi people will lose their jobs because of this war. Because our economy basically dependent on the foreign economy. Let's say dependent on all of the foreign activities. So maybe soon many of our people will lose their jobs and they will come back to our country. This is one point. Secondly, energy crisis. How I see the energy crisis and everything happening in Bangladesh. Even Bangladesh energy minister go to the road and taking care of everything going smoothly. It's almost impossible because 90% of our energy come from Middle East market and so on. This way, our transportations, our manufacturing, our everything will be collapse. And third important things regarding this economical imbalance and other things. As we are a small economy and we are not a big economy at all, so our economy is foreign remittance, our economy based on garments industries, so it may create a lot of problem. Solution what we have, immediately we need to go for stop this war. We do not need lot of propaganda, we do not need lot of people died and so on. I think what we see in my neutral eyes, Iran lose lot of their like defense capacity for this attack. That's what I'm sure. Iran heavily losing their defense capacity and so on. They lose lot of their leaders. But how USA want to change the regime, it may be difficult. But USA lose Khomeini's and many of their leaders. So this is another point. I think in some point USA is successful, or Israel is successful because they want to change some leaders in Iran. But if they want to change 100% in these situations, it will be challenging and problematic for uh, both for Iran and for USA. So let's focus on global peace. Uh, let's focus on global collaborations and move forward. stop wire. You do not need wire at all. Thank you.
I have two stories off of Drudge that are in the one's business news, that for the first time in history, in retail storefronts, there are more service-based retailers, restaurants, spas, gyms than there are goods-based retailers. Having a store that sells stuff is done. That's cooked. Everybody gets their crap online. If you want to have a store right now, you have to sell wellness or food or something where people have to show up in person with their bodies to do something for their bodies, which is a crazy but inevitable trend. And here's one more story. These guys went swimming with sharks for 6 years every morning, and they've discovered that sharks have friends. Sharks hang out with other sharks. They prefer the company of sharks, of certain sharks. They have friend networks, which is just weird. But there you go. I mean,
It's very important information. I'm happy to learn.
yeah, it's kind of nonsense, but it's fun. They're shark friends.
It's very important for us to know that sharks like sharks.
I think our viewers did all need to know that because they really weren't sure, Sasha. You know?
Yeah.
And as you notice, the chess players hang out with the chess players.
That's exactly correct. This
I
is
mean,
what's similar between chess players
yeah.
and sharks. That
Right.
chess
And
players
the
like,
gamblers hang out with the gamblers, and the gamblers are all sharks because
yeah.
they're looking for their next victim, which is the person they're going to gamble against. You know, so yeah, I mean, it makes sense that the sharks hang out with sharks. And the best chess players, as you notice, Sasha, hang out with the best chess players, and they shun all the bottom players. It's true. And they're supposed to start the candidates in Cyprus, but I think Cyprus is under attack. So one player said that she's not going to go to Cyprus because she doesn't want to get blown up.
Well, it all depends.
Cyprus has drones hitting them, you know. So that was like not too much fun.
Well,
least they
there
had a
are a
couple.
lot of events scheduled for Dubai, for all these places for until the rest of this year.
Dubai is not till 2 years from now. They're having the Olympiad there.
Yeah.
The Olympiad's going to be in Uzbekistan, Solomon or something like that, Uzbekistan.
Yeah.
I was thinking about going, but every time I think about going that way, I got to go pass through, you know, Iran, and I'm not sure if that's a good strategy right now.
Well, no, you don't want to go. I mean, the airplanes, I mean, passenger jets have been avoiding Iran for a while now. You don't want to fly
Right.
through their airspace.
Yeah. You know, well, it's trying to get to Dr. Sharif right now is problematic because I got to stop in Dubai. Before it wasn't a problem, but now it is a problem. And also, airplane tickets have gone up. I checked recently because I look at air tickets all the time. It's almost double now to fly across that pond, you know. So
Actually, you
because
know
of
what?
jet fuel.
I've
What?
found very interesting information just this morning that it's not only that oil prices went up and that's why all the economy will go apart all over the world, but it's even fuel for the tankers went up in price. So to fuel these tankers now will cost much more money.
You're right.
Never
Right.
mind insurance and docking fees and everything else. So essentially, all economy of the world has been derailed for some time. Now, it could, if Strait of Hormuz would open tomorrow, then it will take 3-4 months to sort of repair all the damage and get the prices in line or so on. Now, if it's going to be not open for another 2-3 months, and we're talking about the end of the year as earliest to deal with all these problems. And if Strait of Hormuz, actually, to tell the truth, I even don't see any scenario under which Strait of Hormuz would open anytime soon, because militarily, you cannot do anything there. Germany and England advised Trump to do it through diplomatic means. But for that, You have to settle all the war issue, and then you are not declared the winner anymore. Then Iran actually could be declared the winner because okay, yeah, you dropped the bombs and everything else, but it was Iran who dictated the terms of the peace, not United States. So it's kind of a situation which really gets out of hands. I don't know how it's going to be dealt with. Nobody is going to be helping the United States, who was for last year and several months was lecturing Western Europe how to do and what to do and when to do and not what to do and so on. They got tired of lecturing by the United States. Enough is enough. So now you get a problem. Okay, deal with that. You don't need anybody. When Britain sent two ships to the region, what Trump said, we don't need your ships, get them out. We don't need, we can do it everything ourselves. We are the biggest, the strongest, the most expensive military in the world. We don't need anybody. Oh, guess what? Now they're saying, oh, help us, bring this is all China. Come on. You need this oil more than we, help us. No, nobody wants to help. There is no lineup of countries to help. And by the way, where are all these trillions of dollars? I think it was $17 trillion coming to the United States to create new jobs and everything. Where does that happen? This is what happened when you have deranged president, sick old man criminal, and the con man. Okay, you got it. Payback time, baby. Payback time. $5, $6, $7 per gallon. You know, that's your payment for selecting such an individual. And you knew all that. But you said, oh, okay, maybe he will do something positive this time or so on. No.
Europe, baby. I'm in Europe. I'm in Europe.
No, here's a different kind of payback. The president of Warner Brothers Discovery will be, after selling the company to Paramount, will be getting between 500 million and 800 million in severance pay.
Bravo.
This is for regular people in entertainment. The money has gone away, but this guy could walk away with more than $800 million.
Rick, if it would happen to something like this in Russia, you would definitely know that this money will be split among people who arranged all that and who made decisions and who created the documents and so on. So it will be split between probably 8, 10, maybe even 20 people. In the United States, I don't know how it works. Is he going to grab all this money? So he must as well move to military base.
Well, he has to be very careful what state he lives in, because otherwise, like if he lives in California will try to rip him off for 13%. So a lot of them, what they do is they'll run to Nevada and declare residency, or Florida, which Howard Schultz and Jeff Bezos did. So they don't have to pay the Washington new income tax, which doesn't go in effect for another year. But Washington wants 10% of their income. So Sasha, what they do is they jump out and try to dodge the bullet rather than pay the tax. That whole group of people they're nicest people in the world. I used to work with them. They really are. But in terms of making a contribution to other people, there's 2 words you have to remember. Forget it. It's not happening, because that's how they got there to begin with, so it's he'll do very well. He'll have his nice mansion down in Florida, hang out in Naples or Palm Beach, and good for him. Good for him.
I'm surprised that there are so few shooting of these people. I would imagine that.
Oh, because they don't know who they are. I mean, one of my clients was he was the president of Philip Morris. Name who the president of Philip Morris is right now. Name anybody on this panel know who the president of Philip Morris is? No. You know why? Because they keep very low profiles. You follow what I mean? How about the president of Kimberly-Clark? He was one of my clients. Name him. You guys don't know. You know why? Because they keep low profiles. A lot of the people, unless you're in entertainment or sports, they keep or you're like Bill Gates, where you couldn't keep a low profile. They keep very low profiles, Sasha. They don't want to be known, because if they're known, they become a target, just like you said, and they don't want to be targets. So they basically keep a low profile. And frankly, I can guarantee you he didn't want that out there. He was making
But
$500
if it's a
million
low
bucks.
profile, you can search documents, especially of public companies. You can
Yeah.
always find who is the president, who is CEO.
Yeah, I know, but most people are too lazy to do it. Like I said, nobody
Why?
on this panel
Okay,
knows
that
who the
makes
president of Kimberly-Clark is, Fortune
Yeah.
500 company. And other than Rick briefly mentioning this person's name, no one really knows who this person is.
No,
who's head of
people
the
know in
company.
Hollywood because this is a guy who's this is the guy who shelves movies that have already been made for tax
Right.
write-offs. There was a Batgirl movie. People wanted to see it. People love superhero movies. He did the math and figured out that he could make more money by never releasing it, never spending another
Oh.
100 million on advertising. He just shelved it. Nobody will ever see that movie. There's a Roadrunner versus Coyote movie already made, never going to be seen because it became a tax write-off.
Really? Okay.
This
Right.
is the
So
guy
they
that we
basically
were up
they're
against
selling
during the
tax
actors'
credits.
strike
Oh.
and the writers' strike.
Oh, by the way, Rick, you know he can get out by not paying any taxes at all in the 500 million. Do you know how he does it?
He can die and pass it
No,
on.
no. Okay, he enters into an Oz transaction. There's a person I work with who specializes. It's called Opportunity Zones. Go look it up
Okay,
on the
all right.
internet. Okay, it's a weird thing when you have a stock position and you have a great gain. Who put this into effect was Sean Parker. Okay, that you basically, if you put it into an opportunity zone for 10 years, you basically washed your taxes away for free. So what he does is he takes his money, he puts it he invests in opportunity zone.
You buy
There's
real
3,000
estate in
of
a
them.
disadvantaged neighborhood.
Yeah, basically a disadvantage, but these disadvantaged communities aren't as disadvantaged as you think. Buys a bunch of real estate, rehabs, okay, holds for 10 years, and then no taxes. So what'll happen is this to his 500 million, because you think about it, in California, he'd have to pay close to 250 million in taxes. Okay, that's outrageous. I mean, in his brain, he couldn't handle it. So he leave California, get rid of them. That'll save, 50 or 60 million. Then use opportunity zone strategies to reduce his taxes even further, and do it quietly so that people don't get upset that he exits with a huge amount of money. I mean, this goes on every day in the United States, but our financial literacy is so poor that most people listening to this program don't even know opportunity zones are out there to wash concentrated stock positions out of your tax system.
Honestly, I think a lot of people, especially in minority communities higher up, know about the opportunity zones, and that's why they're against them, because they know that those opportunity zones are basically, as you said, a way to wash the money, but also gentrify the area. So that's why
Jacoby, if you want to rebuild up Durham, I mean, I think parts of it are already declared now opportunity zone. The thing is, then what you have to do, because people move money for tax purposes, is to get people to move their tax money over to that. And of course, then you have to deal with these people. But that's another story. But the thing is, they'll invest if they get a tax write-off.
Well,
and that's it. Otherwise, that money ain't moving.
But the problem is when they invest, as you said, you have to deal with them. And when you have to deal with them, what they do is they actually gentrify that area and kick the people that are there out. Yeah, and they don't. And so it becomes, that opportunity zone becomes a safe haven and a wealth creator for those individuals that are investing the money.
Right.
For those that are there, it becomes a detriment to them, because then they're either kicked out, priced out, and never actually given any affordable housing, any way of improving themselves. So it's not that, again, it goes back to, it's not that people don't know about it. It's that those that are in power are able to utilize that lever, and those that aren't in power can't.
Well, there's a right way to develop that where you put in low income units, but every time they try to write the rules for something like this, the builders come in and figure out how to dance around it And in practicality, in real life, it almost never works the way it should.
Yeah, you're right, unfortunately.
But it makes for nice new developments with this combined retail, restaurants on the bottom floor, and then like 5 stories of condos and apartments above. It makes for a nice environment. But yeah, the people who used to live there can't live in this nice neighborhood because
It's too expensive.
Yeah.
By the way, that's Spain. Spain is basically what we said: retail on the first floor, and then apartments on going up bases. But the United States, it's spread. I mean,
it's not only it's nice, it's also, we have a baby shortage in the U.S. If everybody lived in this kind of deal, like close to people don't run into each other face to face except in these developments where you might walk around and you might see like an attractive person and actually talk to them instead of being on your phone.
Right. Yeah, but the thing is, I don't think the U.S. culture is going to change. You're too used to your spread out cars, big lots, big homes, and the lifestyle becomes too addictive.
So I don't think it's that we're too used to it. It's that we're born into it. That's
that could
the
be
difference.
true.
Well, Sasha wants to reinstitute the draft, and Trump is actually making noise like that. But if you had a national service requirement for people in their 20s, you serve 18 months doing something to benefit the U.S. You take a bunch of people in their 20s, you throw them together on a building project, on some kind of public service medicine or teaching project. Those people would hook up. They would have sex with each other, and we would have more babies. But that's never going to happen.
Hey, Rick, let me tell you, Rick, this is why I love you. Everything reverts back to sex and hooking up.
Right.
I love it.
Isn't Rick has figured out what the number one motivator of people is.
Well, I never got over it. I had my bad years where I desperately wanted a girlfriend.
Yeah, and so what you did is you took IQ tests.
My wife and I are old, and we still, on the regular, talk about how lonely we were when we were teenagers and how we each desperately wanted a girlfriend or a boyfriend. And you never get over high school.
Yep. Okay, well, that's quite elucidating for people that are listening to this show. You never got over high school. Maybe we'll put that out.
No, I mean, I think it was probably high school was even more important before social media because you only had the people you went to high school with. You couldn't go home. You couldn't be tapping with your peer group that's spread out across America. Nobody at your high school likes you, but you've got all the people who like you on your phone, so that it hurts less. But back in 1978, nope, you only have the people you walk the halls with.
Oh, really? Wow. I didn't spend much time in high school, so I don't know very much.
You were playing chess? You had your chess peer group. What were you doing?
Oh, yeah, I did. I went to my 50th reunion, but I skipped my senior year of high school, my freshman year of college. I skipped my sophomore year of college and went from a junior high school to junior in college. But so my senior year in high school, I wasn't even there, But a couple of the chess players did show up to the 50th reunion I had the other day or last year sometime. And it's quite interesting. But I didn't know most of the people that were there, So except the chess players.
You didn't have to worry about who, asking somebody to prom or homecoming.
No, I didn't go to all that stuff.
Well, how did you meet your wife? How did you, if it wasn't?
After I graduated from law school, okay, then you start looking around.
Okay.
I found her in Fort Myers, Florida, working. She had a master's in tax from USC. I thought, she's got to be pretty smart because you can't go to USC if you're dumb.
Yeah, you're smart. I was trying to get a girlfriend when I was a teenager, and I was a mess. I had no skills. I always had a big zit somewhere on my face, and I was like scrawny and and just weird. And if I'd waited until if I just looked at myself at 16 and be like, no, you don't deserve a girlfriend. Just wait till you're in your 20s.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I did even have pictures of me in high school, and I'm going, boy, I really cleaned up my accents then. Really, I wish what I had in high school was some, what do they call it, image consultant that came
Yeah.
by and said, we're going to fix you up. And then if they fix you up, you're
The
better.
image, what
You're
the
right.
image
They don't
consultant
have
is,
one.
if
I
you're
don't have one.
lucky enough to have an older brother or sister who takes a look at you and goes, "No, that's not going
No,
to."
yeah, they go, no, that duck don't hunt, that thing don't fly. And the only thing that's flying right now is us because we're out of time on World Edition. And so I guess we'll see everybody tomorrow. Hopefully the world will still be here and Donald Trump doesn't nuke half the world. And if he doesn't, then we'll be here tomorrow. If not, we might be busy. But in the meantime, we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.